The market square on planet Dragon 7 was full of life alien sellers shouting, strange smells in the air, and colorful stalls stretching as far as the eye could see. But all of that stopped the moment she appeared. The crowd went silent. Shoppers backed away. Children hid behind parents. Guards reached for weapons. Walking slowly through the crowd was a young alien girl, tall, silver-skinned with glowing blue eyes. She wore a hooded cloak that brushed the dusty floor. But it wasn't her that everyone feared. It was the beast beside her, a creature like no one had ever seen. It stood taller than any man. Its body was covered in black scales, claws like swords, teeth like daggers, 4 glowing red eyes that watched everything, and everyone. It walked beside her without a leash, no chains, no collar. Yet it obeyed her. People whispered, "That's the death beast. It eats people alive. Why does she keep that monster? She should be locked away." But she didn't speak. She never did. She walked quietly through the market, her beast following with heavy, echoing steps. Watching from a corner stall was a human. His name was Jace Rowan, a former soldier from Earth. He had seen war. He had seen monsters, but nothing like this girl. And her pet. He didn't feel fear. He felt curiosity. He didn't step away like the others. He didn't grab his weapon. He just watched, calm, focused. The girl's eyes flicked toward him for a second, just 1 second, and then moved on. But in that moment, Jace noticed something that others didn't. Her eyes were not full of pride. They were full of pain. She walked past a group of fruit sellers. One dropped a crate in fear, and the beast growled. The seller screamed and ran, falling over his own feet. The crowd scattered, but Jace stayed where he was. The alien girl turned to her beast and gently whispered something. It was too soft to hear, but the beast stopped growling. It sat beside her like a loyal dog, even though it looked like a nightmare. Then her glowing blue eyes turned to Jace again. This time, she stared longer. People around Jace shouted at him. "Are you crazy, human? Move away. Don't look into its eyes. That thing will eat you next." But Jace didn't move. He tilted his head and slowly raised one hand in a peaceful gesture. To everyone's shock, the beast didn't attack. It simply looked at him, and then let out a low, curious rumble. The girl looked surprised. She stepped forward, watching Jace closely. "You're not afraid?" she finally asked. Her voice was soft, like someone who hadn't spoken in years. Jace gave a small smile. "Should I be?" She didn't answer. She just stared at him. Then she looked down at the beast, who seemed unusually calm. Suddenly, a loud siren echoed across the square. Guards rushed in with laser rifles, wearing black armor. They were shaking, not with courage, but with fear. "Step away from the creature," the lead guard shouted at Jace. "Don't move." Another yelled, "It's dangerous." The alien girl stepped in front of her beast protectively. "Don't hurt him," she shouted. Her voice had fire now. "He's a weapon," one guard screamed. "He's my friend." She shouted back. The beast growled. Its claws scratched the ground. The guards aimed their weapons. Jace raised both hands to stop them. "Wait. No one has to get hurt," Jace said. But the guards didn't listen. One of them fired a warning shot into the air. The beast roared. The sound shook the buildings. Shoppers screamed and ran. Stalls crashed down. The guards aimed again, hands shaking. "Run." The alien girl suddenly yelled at Jace. Before he could respond. She grabbed his hand, soft but strong, and pulled him into a nearby alley. The beast followed, knocking over crates and barrels, its growl rising. Jace ran beside her, heart pounding. He looked back. The guards were chasing, and the girl beside him, this mysterious, silent, feared alien, was now trusting him. They ran through narrow paths, her cloak flying behind her, the beast clearing the way like a tank. Finally, they stopped in the dark. Quiet space behind a broken building. The girl leaned against a wall, breathing fast. Jace looked at her and asked, "Why did you pull me with you?" She looked up, her glowing eyes soft now. "Because you didn't run from him," she whispered. "And that means, maybe you won't run from me either." The first thing Jace heard was the beast's breath. It was deep, slow, like a giant machine resting, but ready to explode at any second. Jace sat on a dusty floor, back against a cold metal wall. His heart still beat fast. His arm was sore where the alien girl had grabbed him, across from him. The monster, her beast, watched him in silence. Its glowing red eyes didn't blink. It didn't growl. Didn't move. It just stared. Most creatures looked away when a human stared too long, but this one? It looked into Jace's soul. The alien girl, still catching her breath, finally broke the silence. "You're not normal." Jace looked up. "Thanks. I get that a lot." She didn't smile. She looked serious. "No one looks at him like you did, not even I." "Not at first." Jace studied the creature. It was massive, nearly twice his height even while sitting. Its body was powerful, but calm, as if it didn't care about fear anymore. He spoke quietly. "What is he?" she replied. "He doesn't have a name. They just called him Project Zeta." Jace frowned. "That sounds like something from a war lab." The girl nodded. "They built him to kill. They made him feel only rage. But something went wrong." She paused, her voice softer. "He started protecting me." Jace didn't know what to say. He looked into the creature's eyes again. Then slowly, he moved forward. Just a little. Just enough to show he wasn't afraid. Girl gasped. "What are you doing?" Jace raised a hand, palm open. "I want to see if you'll listen." "You're crazy," she whispered. But the beast didn't growl. It didn't attack. Instead, it leaned forward, its long face inches from Jace's. Its hot breath brushed against Jace's skin. Jace whispered, "Hey, big guy, you don't want to hurt me, right?" The beast blinked once, then tilted its head just a little. The girl stared, shocked. "He's listening," she whispered. "That's not possible." Jace gave a soft laugh, still not moving. Maybe he's tired of being treated like a monster. The girl sat down beside him, a little closer now. The beast didn't react to her either. She looked at Jace closely. "You're not like the others. Humans usually hate what they fear. But you try to understand it." Jace shrugged. "I've fought monsters. But the real ones didn't always have claws." That made her pause. Her expression changed, softer, sad. "Me too." Outside, a searchlight passed by their hiding spot. Distant shouting echoed in the night. The guards were still hunting them. Jace turned his head. "You should go. I can draw them away." But the girl shook her head firmly. "No, you helped us. I won't leave you." There was silence for a moment. Then she said, "My name is Aliza." Jace smiled. "I'm Jace." The beast huffed gently, like it was annoyed by all the talking. Aliza smiled for the first time. "He likes you." "Oh, good," Jace said, "because I don't think I could fight him." Suddenly the beast stood up. Aliza jumped. "What is it?" The creature growled low, facing the wall. Then they heard it footsteps, close, fast, many. "They found us," Aliza whispered. Jace stood up quickly. "Do you know another way out?" She nodded. "Follow me. Stay low." The beast growled again, ready to protect. But as they crawled through a broken vent at the back of the building, Jace looked back and the beast looked at him again. This time, there was something else in its eyes. Not rage, not fear, something closer to respect. As they moved through the dark streets, Aliza said softly, "You're the only one he's never tried to bite." Jace chuckled. "Maybe he thinks I taste bad." Aliza looked at him with wide eyes. Then she laughed. A real small laugh. In all her years with the beast, This was the first time someone had made her laugh, and she knew this human was dangerous, not to her body, but to her walls. The night air changed. It wasn't just the sound of boots on metal streets anymore. It was the feeling. A heavy silence. Like the world was holding its breath. Jace stopped moving. Aliza felt it too, and so did the beast. It lifted its head, nostrils wide. Its deep red eyes flicked toward the rooftops. Then a red laser dot appeared on Eliza's chest. Jace didn't think. He grabbed her and dove behind a broken pillar. PSSH. A plasma bolt hit where she'd just been standing. Another shot. Closer this time. The trap had been set long ago. Aliza gasped for air. They're using snipers. Jace peeked out and saw them, black armored figures high above, aiming silently. No warnings this time. We need to move now. He hissed. She nodded, but her eyes were wide. Fear was spreading fast. That's when the beast roared so loud that the entire alley shook. It ran forward, not to attack, but to shield them. Shots hit its thick hide and bounced off. The beast didn't flinch. It turned its back to the shooters and faced Chase and Aliza, growling low. Protective. Defiant. Alive. Jac. He grabbed Eliza's hand again. This time she didn't hesitate. Run with me, human. She shouted. They bolted down a narrow path between stacked metal crates and broken stalls. The beast ran beside them like a silent guardian, eyes burning with fury. Behind them, red bolts flew. Explosions lit up the sky. A drone zipped past and exploded against a wall. The market turned into a war zone. They ducked into a side tunnel, a maintenance shaft too small for normal traffic. Jace slid in first, pulling Aliza behind him. The beast stopped at the entrance. It was too large. Let out a soft growl. Aliza looked back. He'll follow another way. He always finds me. Jace was amazed. He really understands you. He doesn't just understand me, she said quietly. He chooses to protect me. Jace was silent for a moment as they crawled through the dark tunnel. Finally he asked, why do they want him so badly? Elisa's voice was low. Because they lost control of him. And now, they want to erase that mistake. They reached the end of the tunnel and slipped into another alley. Smoke filled the air. Sirens screamed in the distance. The beast met them there. It had gone around, and it wasn't alone. In its jaws was a guard's helmet crushed like paper. Jace raised an eyebrow. Remind me never to get on his bad side. Aliza touched the beast's side. He's angry. But only at those who try to hurt us. Jace looked at her. Why didn't you leave the city? You're always running. She hesitated, then said softly, because I hoped someone would see me, not just the monster next to me. That hit Jace harder than any bullet. Suddenly, a loudspeaker echoed overhead. Attention, the girl and her creature are considered a class of threat. The human assisting them is now marked for detainment or death. Jace sighed. Great, now I'm famous. Aliza stepped close, eyes serious. You still have time to leave me. I won't blame you. Jace shook his head slowly. No, you said your beast chose you. He looked her in the eyes. I choose you too. There was no time for more words. Heavy footsteps closed in from both ends of the alley. Aliza pulled back her hood. Her silver skin shone under the red lights. Then follow me, Jace, she said with quiet fire. She turned and ran into the shadows, and the beast once feared by all rushed ahead like a dark angel. Asterisk. The tunnel smelled like rust and old oil. Water dripped from the ceiling, and in that silence, the only sound was breathing. 3 different rhythms, one tired, one scared, and one that didn't sound human at all. Aliza stopped walking. Her boots echoed on the metal floor as she turned around. Jace stood behind her, hands on his knees, catching his breath. The beast sat like a statue nearby, eyes glowing softly in the dark. She finally spoke. We'll rest here. No one comes this deep underground. Jace looked around. Pipes ran across the walls. A broken power line sparked faintly in the corner, It wasn't safe. But it was quiet, and after all that running, quiet was a gift. Aliza sat down and pulled her knees to her chest. Jace sat beside her, leaving space between them. For a few moments, they said nothing. The beast lay down, its head resting on its claws, still watching them both. Then Jace asked gently, "Do you trust me now?" Aliza looked at him, her lips parted like she was going to lie. But she didn't. "Yes," she whispered. Jace leaned back against the wall. "That's good, because I trust you too." She raised an eyebrow. "Why? You could have left me. More than once." She lowered her gaze. "I thought about it." Jace chuckled. "There. Silence again. Not cold this time. Just careful." Finally, Aliza said, "You deserve to know what we're running from." Jace turned his head toward her. She didn't look at him. She looked at her beast. And began to speak. He wasn't born. He was made. Inside a secret lab called Vault 7, they were building weapons, living ones. Jace listened, eyes narrowing. They raised him in pain, fed him chemicals, broke his bones and healed them wrong so they'd grow stronger. They called it training. I call it torture. She touched the beast's thick hide. It didn't move, but its eyes closed like it remembered. I wasn't part of the lab. I was just a cleaner. They never saw me. They never noticed when I snuck into the cages. One night I brought him water, and he didn't bite me. He just whimpered. She paused, voice cracking. That was the first time I cried for something other than myself. Jace's voice was low. "You saved him." She nodded slowly. "I stole a key, opened his cage. We ran. He could have escaped without me, but he stayed. He chose me." She looked at Jace now, really looked at him. "You remind me of him," he blinked. "I'm not that scary." "No," she said softly. "You're kind and stubborn and stupid enough to stay when you shouldn't." Jace laughed. "That's definitely me." Suddenly, the beast stood. Its head turned sharply. Jace stood too. "What is it?" The beast growled low, deep in its chest. Aliza's face went pale. "He smells someone." Jace grabbed the metal pipe he'd carried since the market. "We've got company?" Aliza nodded. 2, maybe 3. The beast didn't wait. It moved to block the hallway they came from, body tense, ready to fight. Jace looked at Aliza. "Do we run again?" "No," she said, standing tall now. "Not this time." She reached into her cloak and pulled out a small round device. It pulsed blue. "What's that?" "Signal jammer. Bought it off a black market trader months ago." Jace smiled. "You've been planning this?" She nodded. "Always." The lights flickered. Footsteps echoed. Jace stood beside the beast, pipe ready. Aliza stepped to the other side, her eyes glowing brighter in the dark. And in that moment, 3 strangers appeared at the far end of the tunnel. But they didn't expect what was waiting for them. Not a frightened girl, not a helpless human, and definitely not a beast that looked ready to burn the world down. It didn't start with a scream. It started with silence. Jace had learned in war. Silence before a fight meant only one thing, a trap. The strangers at the end of the tunnel didn't move. They didn't speak. 3 shadowy figures, black armor, helmets with glowing red visors. Weapons ready, but it wasn't just the weapons. Something felt wrong. Aliza whispered. "Those aren't normal soldiers." Jace looked closer. "They're faster." "Too still. They're not human." "Clones," Aliza said. "Bio-soldiers." "They were sent to take him back," Jace said, glancing at the beast. The creature was already growling low and slow. But then, the clone stepped aside, and a 4th figure walked forward, a tall woman in a white coat. Cold eyes, no fear. She smiled like a snake. "Well done, Aliza," the woman said. "You brought him back to us." Jace froze. Aliza took 1 step back. "No," she whispered. "No, I didn't." The woman held up a small glowing cube. From it came a humming sound. And the beast twitched. It stepped back, shook its head, and groaned like it was in pain. "What's happening?" Jace shouted. "They're triggering his control chip." Eliza yelled. The white coat woman laughed. "You thought you freed him. But we never let go, girl." The beast snarled, thrashing its head. It roared, loud and full of rage. Its eyes flickered between red and white. Eliza ran forward. "No! Stop, please! You're free!" But the beast didn't hear her. It charged. Not at the clones. At Jace. Jace didn't move. He stood still, pipe in hand but not raised. Eliza screamed, "Run!" But Jace didn't single quotes to Dot instead. He whispered, "This isn't you. You know me." The beast roared, jaws open wide. Then it stopped, inches from Jace's face. It breathed hard, mouth still open, but didn't bite. Its eyes blinked. Then it slowly turned and faced the woman. Eliza gasped. He broke the command. The woman's smile vanished. "Impossible," she hissed. But it "Wiu Asen" single quotes to Dot. The beast let out a thunderous roar and charged the clones. They fired. Bolts hit its body. But it didn't stop. It slammed into them like a storm, tossing them like dolls. Metal cracked. Bones broke. The lab woman ran, screaming orders. Jace grabbed Eliza's hand. "We move now." They ran through the chaos. The beast ripped through another wall, clearing their path. It limped, slightly wounded, but refused to stop. Behind them, the tunnel was burning, and buried beneath the rubble the control cube was crushed. They didn't stop until they reached the surface, an old loading dock near the city's edge. Jace dropped to one knee, breathing hard. Eliza turned and looked at her beast. It was hurt. Blood dripped from its leg. Its sides were burned, but it walked toward her and rested its head against her shoulder. She held it. Tears ran down her face. "You're really free now," she whispered. Jace stepped forward, still stunned. He fought their command. Eliza looked at him. "Because of you." For a moment, they just stood there, human, alien, and beast. Not as fugitives, but as a team. Then Eliza looked at the night sky. "They'll come again," Jace nodded. "Let them. We'll be ready." The beast growled in agreement. Blood dripped onto the broken floor. But the beast didn't cry out. It just stood there, tired, burned, bleeding, and still watching Eliza with soft eyes. She knelt beside him, hands shaking. She had bandages, but not enough. Clean water, but not enough. Time was running out. "He needs real care," Jace said behind her. Eliza didn't speak. Her hands pressed gently against the beast's wounds. Her tears fell onto its black scales. For years she had saved him, but now he had saved them. Jace sat beside her. He had cuts on his arm and dirt on his face, but his eyes were steady. "You could have run when the lab lady came," he said softly. Eliza didn't answer. He continued, "You stayed. You fought. You got hurt." Finally she looked at him. Her voice was low. "Because he's all I have." Jace shook his head. "No, he's not all you have anymore." She blinked. "You?" He nodded. "Me." Silence again. Then the beast made a deep sound, not a growl, but something like a tired sigh. Jace looked at the creature. Why did he stop? Why didn't he kill me when they controlled him? Eliza touched the beast's head. "Because," she said slowly, "he didn't just choose me anymore." She turned to Jace. "He chose you too." That truth hung in the air like warm breath. On a cold day, the monster everyone feared had chosen a human, not because of a command, not because of fear, but because he trusted him. They found an old shelter, a hidden place beneath the city ruins. Safe, quiet. Inside, Eliza wrapped Jace's arm. Her hands were careful, gentle. He smiled. "You're better at this than any battlefield medic I've had." "I've had practice," she said. "Being hunted teaches you a lot." Then she paused. You didn't have to stay. Jace looked at her. I know. She looked down. Why did you? His answer was quiet. Because you needed someone. And so did I. The beast lay nearby, curled like a guardian. Its breathing was heavy, but steady. For the first time, it was resting. Aliza leaned back against the wall. I used to believe the world had no place for people like me, she said. I'm not strong, not fast, not special. Just a girl with a monster for a friend. Jay shook his head. No. You're brave, you didn't give up. She glanced at him. Neither did you. Then something changed in her voice, softer, honest. I've been alone for so long, Jace. I forgot what it feels like. To matter. He looked at her and reached out, his fingers brushing her hand. You matter, he said. To him, to me. Her hand didn't move away. In that quiet, surrounded by rubble and pain, something new was born. Not fear. Not survival, but belonging. And just as the moment grew warm, a sharp beep echoed from Jace's command. He checked it and froze. What is it? Aliza asked. He showed her a signal. A message. They found us. Aliza stood up. How long do we have? Jace looked at her. Not long, maybe minutes. She nodded once. No panic. Just fire in her eyes. Then she turned to the beast. He lifted his head slowly, sensing the danger again. Aliza placed a hand on him. One more fight, then we're free. The beast growled low, stronger now. Ready. Jace stood beside her, and for the first time, he wasn't just protecting them. He was one of them. It started with thunder. But there were no clouds in the sky. The thunder came from above dropships. Dark, heavy machines roaring through the air, coming to take back what they believed was theirs. Inside the old shelter, Jace tightened his boots and picked up his metal pipe. Not much, but it would have to do. Aliza stood beside him, a calm fire. In her eyes, she wore no armor, no helmet. Just courage, and behind them, the beast rose slowly, wounded, scarred, but taller than ever. Outside, the streets trembled. Soldiers in black armor jumped from the ships. Drones scanned the air. Weapons charged. A voice echoed through the city. Surrender the girl and the beast. The human will be shown mercy. You have 1 minute, Jace chuckled bitterly. Kind of them to offer. Aliza looked at him. You still have time to leave. He turned to her, face calm. I'm not leaving my family. Then everything moved fast. The first drone exploded mid-air, torn apart by the beast's claws. A wall collapsed as soldiers fired. But Aliza was already gone, moving through shadows, fast and sharp. Jace swung his pipe with a soldier's strength, smashing drones and dodging blasts. Together, the three of them, man, alien, and beast, fought like a storm. They didn't attack for revenge. They didn't fight for glory. They fought for each other, but the enemy was endless. One by one, the streets filled with more soldiers. A rocket flew past Jace's head. He fell back, groaning in pain. Aliza ran to him, eyes full of fear. Jace, I'm fine, he lied. We've got this. The beast leapt over them both, landing with a crash that shook the earth. Its roar shattered glass. Its claws tore through armor. But even it was slowing down. Too many wounds, too many enemies. Suddenly, boom. A blast knocked them all down. Smoke filled the street. Jace's ears rang. He couldn't see Aliza, couldn't see the beast. He crawled forward, coughing. Then a figure appeared in the smoke, not a soldier. The woman in the white coat, holding a new cube, another control device. She looked down at him and sneered. You never understood, human. These things aren't your friends, they're tools. And tools can be broken. She raised the cube, but before she could activate it, Aliza appeared behind her. And broke the cube in half. The woman screamed. No, the beast, now standing again, roared with all its might. The sound shook the skies. Drones lost control and crashed. Soldiers dropped their weapons and fled. And Jace. He stood up beside Aliza. Together, they faced what was left, but there was nothing left to fight. They had won. Later, under a rising sun, the city watched in silence. People came out of hiding. They looked at the beast. They looked at Aliza. And for the first time, they didn't see a monster. They saw a protector. An old city leader stepped forward. "I was wrong about you," he said softly. "About all of you." He looked at Jace. "You stayed when no one else would." Jace simply nodded. The man turned to Aliza. "You have a home here now, both of you." She looked at Jace, her eyes full of something new. Hope. That night, in a small home offered by the city, they sat together in the quiet. Aliza rested her head on Jace's shoulder. The beast lay curled by the fire, finally asleep. Jace looked into the flames and whispered, "He chose you. Then he chose me. But we all chose each other." Aliza smiled. "And now, we're free.